Tennessee right here, Mark Pody. He's for the people.
Hey, so we're going to get started. I'm going to have you go first.
How you doing? Good. Hey, good to see you. How you doing?
Run for president.
Listen, it is our body. We are in charge of our own health. We do not need government to tell us what we need to do for our own health. It is ours. Yes, sir. It is not hard for us to say that if we give up our freedom for the security of a little bit of decisions for their government's health decisions for us, we give up all of our freedom.
Listen, we're here as citizens of Tennessee to show up. All of you know that this bill, two bills actually in the House, to secure religious exemptions to vaccine and to simply say that the state will not mandate a vaccine to COVID, by the way, which I will just say that our governor has said multiple times that would not happen. We are here to ask our legislature to put that in writing. We're trying to do this. This started out with two bills in the House, HB 10 and HB 13. HB 10 is a bill to secure religious exemptions to vaccines and medical treatment, by the way, because what most Tennesseans don't know is that while we do have religious exemptions to vaccinations and medical treatment in some cases here in Tennessee, those rights are null and void in the case of an epidemic or the threat of an epidemic. But here's the scary part about that piece of statute. It doesn't say who gets to determine what an epidemic is or when the threat of an epidemic is coming, and it does not require an emergency. It's very vague, just like our emergency power statute, where we're just making stuff up as we go right now. Okay? So we came with one simple mission in the House. Just secure religious exemptions. That's it. But then we had some representatives wanting to define what religious beliefs are. Let me tell you how asinine of an argument that actually is. The reason that is so ridiculous is because our Constitution doesn't just protect the right to worship. In Article 1, Section 3, it protects our right of conscience, which is an extremely unique statement in the sense that it doesn't mean the right to do whatever you want to do. Our founders always understood that conscience was tied directly to a religious belief, but the reason that we frame it as a right of conscience is because government doesn't get to define what religion is. In fact, Madison was really clear in a memorial and remonstrance that every man in his religion determines that by his conscience. And when he wrote that in the Virginia Declaration of Independence, he said, there is a free exercise of religion according to the dictates of your conscience, not how the government defines that for you. So the question was, well, why is right of conscience in here? Well, because it's in the Constitution. And we want our General Assembly to secure constitutional rights. The other argument that was presented in the House was, well, I don't even know why we're here talking about this bill. This is never going to happen in Tennessee.
Start the bill!
Just take our word for it.
Yeah.
My response is, well, great. You and I are on the same page. Pass the bill.
Yeah.
What's the whole... Why will you not put your name on it? We've been told by Governor Lee several times, which I appreciate, saying that Tennessee will not mandate a vaccine for COVID. That's great. Thank you, sir. Put your name on it. gonna do one more. It's gonna do a little piano thing, she said.
Oh yeah.
The vaccines that we have, the side effects are incredibly low. They're one of the most effective vaccines that we have and among some of the lowest side effects of any other vaccine that we have. So just want to make sure that those things were clear to folks as they're considering this bill.
Thank you. I think our sponsor's intent is to solely deal with the COVID.
My intent is to deal with the COVID with regard to the constitutional rights, the God-given constitutional rights of what goes in your body. And these are not FDA approved, and there are many doctors who would disagree. And so I respectfully say that having read many things, that the mRNA is a synthetic form. It is not legally a vaccine because it does not contain any part of the COVID virus. But that's not the issue, quite honestly. The issue is, do Tennesseans and American citizens have the right to determine what medical treatment takes place in their body based on religious or rights of conscience? So I think that I'll verily say to you, I disagree with just about everything you said, based on discussions with doctors, and I'm certainly not one, and you can realize that real quickly. But from what I have studied and what I have talked with doctors about, and what doctors that I respect and have known for years have determined, then I think that difference is part of the issue. And that's why these shots that are for emergency youth authorization, if people choose not to take them, that is their God-given constitutional protected right. So I just could say thank you for that, and thank you for your testimony. And I'm sure he sincerely believes what he said, and I sincerely disagree with him based on other doctors.
We're still out of session, and do we have questions for Dr. Jones? Seeing none, yes, Senator Yarborough.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Or Mr. Chairman, sorry, didn't mean to go down that road. But thank you, Dr. Jones, for joining us today. Could you clarify right now, the state of Tennessee does not have any sort of existing statewide mandate on citizens for for a COVID-19 vaccine, does it?
Absolutely not, and currently have no intention whatsoever to do so. That would be the kind of measure that would be not even contemplated except in the most catastrophic of situations.
Thank you. Are the vaccines that have been distributed in Tennessee's healthcare facilities, have they been approved by the FDA?
Not completely. They are under what's called an EUA. That's just because of the rapidity with which the data were submitted. There's no reason, no one has ever raised any concerns that they might not be, but that just hasn't happened.
Have you taken the vaccine?
So they have received very thorough FDA vetting. It's just sort of the official label that they've gotten as
have you been vaccinated?
absolutely. absolutely.
What's happened to Tennessee's fatality rate since the COVID vaccine was introduced?
Markedly decreased. Remarkably decreased, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
May your spirit go forward before us, and your power be known, and your glory be known as well, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
And it does not include a governmental entity that is subject to a federal or state statute. That's the hospitals. And it took out about all the immunizations. This is all related to it.
Senator Watson? Aye. Votes aye. Senator Yarborough?
No.
Votes no. Chairman Crow?
Aye.
Votes aye. Mr. Chairman, you have 8 ayes and 1 no.
Thank you. Bill goes to calendar. Can we take a 10-minute recess?
Mr. Chairman, thank you for early birthday present. I appreciate it.
There's a lot to do, but this is